Hello, Mr. Steinerson here. In this mini lesson, we're going to take a look at Newton's second law and how it specifically applies to net force equations involving friction. So for the first thing we're going to take a look at is a little bit of review and warm up. Let's say we take a look at these four quick example problems. First one, we have a desk that has some legs supported in a room and it's stationary. Teacher comes around, pushes on the desk, and it doesn't move. The key idea here is that it does not budge. Remains at rest. The only option that would make sense here is that there's a force of static friction opposing the motion. Kinetic friction is with the friction that's already in place when it's moving. Static friction is the friction that's in place before it's in motion. All right, the next example here we have the same desk, and it actually accelerates from rest to a constant speed. The key here is that it's maintaining a constant speed. So while we see a force from a push, the constant speed implies that there's a opposite force of friction that's going to be in equal size. So the net force in this case is still zero. Okay, that's going to be a key idea for a lot of these type of friction concepts. So the kinetic friction must balance then the teacher's forward push. When we're talking about friction, we do have an equation for it, and it's going to involve this coefficient. So the force of friction can be calculated by taking the coefficient of friction times the normal force. Now the coefficient of friction depends on the surface. As we know, some surfaces have different amounts of friction to them, and the coefficient takes that into account. So it's a number that really tells you how slippery the surface is. And the units, well, we don't have units because when we solve for coefficient of friction, we're going to be taking the friction force dividing by the normal force. These are both in newtons. And when you take a newton divided by a newton, those cancel out, so you're left with no units at all. All right. Okay, I want to be applying these ideas to a couple problems. And in my first example here, we have a block that's moving at a constant speed. I know it has a constant speed because both of the forces, applied force and in this case the friction force, are the same size. They're equal to each other. Therefore, the net force, or the sum of the forces causing any accelerations, is zero. So therefore we have no acceleration. I know that because then the net force minus the applied force, or the applied force minus the friction force, must be equal to zero. So in order to kind of restate this, then I know that the applied force in this case is exactly equal to the friction force. 10 newtons pulling this way has to balance out 10 newtons in the opposite direction. So therefore we know the friction force. If we know the friction force, it's asking us for coefficient. So this problem is asking us to solve for coefficient of friction. We can do that by rearranging our equation here. For coefficient gives us the friction, the coefficient is the friction force divided by the normal force. In this case, 10 newtons divided by 12 newtons gives us 0.0833. In this example, we have a block that is sliding across the surface and it's uniformly accelerating at 5 meters per second squared to the left. Therefore, it does have a net force, and we'll use that formula to help us figure out what the coefficient is in this case. One thing to consider is what force is causing the acceleration. In this case, the 12 Newton gravitational force and normal force are not acting horizontally, and therefore they are not part of the acceleration. Only the force of friction is. So the force of friction is the net force in this example. We can rewrite force of friction as mu times the normal force, and that equals mass times acceleration. Well, now we just need to figure out from the diagram what the normal forces are. And we can see that the normal force in this case is equal to the force of gravity, which is 12 newtons. We can then substitute that in to our equation for normal force. So now I can substitute that value in, and that's equal to the mass times the acceleration. We know acceleration, but mass isn't directly given to us. So we can use our relationship that we know to help us find mass between the gravitational or weight force is equal to an object's mass times the acceleration of gravity. If we use 10 as the acceleration of gravity, we can then divide and I get a mass of 1.2 kilograms. I can then plug that into the mass over on the net force equation. So I'll rewrite that here. We're again solving for the coefficient of friction, or mu, times the 12 Newton normal force is equal to 1.2 kilograms times 5 meters per second squared. Now I have all the information I need in order to solve for the coefficient of friction. Running the numbers through, I'm going to end up with the coefficient of friction equaling 1.2 times 5, which is 7, divided by 12. That ends up being a decimal, and in this case it's about 0.58. Now, if you used a different number to help find your mass, if you used 9.81 for the acceleration of gravity, you'll get a slightly different answer, but it should be in the ballpark of about 0.58. Now we can work backwards, and knowing that the equation for force of friction is this number times the normal force, or 0.58 times 12, I can then work backwards to quickly find the force of friction. So I'll do that here. The force of friction equation tells us we take that coefficient times the normal force, mu times the normal force. So now I can substitute in 0.58 times 12, and that will tell me then the force of friction in this problem. Notice the force of friction was the only force that was acting on the object. There was no additional force, additional applied forces, so that is our net force for this problem. According to our free body diagram, it's the only force that's acting horizontally. Thanks. Okay, we're going to take a look at another case of uniform acceleration. However, in this case, we have both an applied force and a frictional force. So when we write out our net force equation, it's important to include both. We know net force is always mass times acceleration. In this case, it's equal to the applied force minus the frictional force. Well, we can find what the mass is by solving for the weight, and we know what the acceleration is because they tell us. So the net force must equal 6. Well, that's a combination of applied force minus frictional force. So let's rewrite that as 6 equals 16, that's my applied force, minus the frictional force. Now it becomes kind of straightforward to solve for what that frictional force is. I'm going to subtract the 16 from the 6 newtons, and I'll end up with my frictional force being 10 newtons. Okay, now I know that, I can substitute that in for anything where frictional force comes into play. When we solve for coefficient, we can't use the shortcut in this case. We can't just use the acceleration of gravity divided by the acceleration of the object because there's more than one force acting. So we have to go back to the original equation. Frictional force is coefficient times normal. We can divide then by the frictional force by the normal force, and we end up with 0.833. The key idea here was we couldn't use the simplified equation. We had to go back to the full equation for frictional force. Okay, taking a look at this other example with uniform acceleration. Again, we have a applied force in one direction, a frictional force in another direction, but they're giving us some different information. They tell us the coefficient this time, and what that can do is that can help us solve for the frictional force when we're substituting into our net force equation. We know net force is still applied force minus frictional force, but in order to find that frictional force, now we can use our frictional force equation, mu times force normal. So I'm going to take 0.5, which is they give us as the coefficient, times the normal force of 12 newtons, and then I can substitute that in for my net force equation. Subtracting from 30, I end up with 24 newtons of net force. To find the acceleration, we're using the 24 in my acceleration equation. Now, there's a lot of forces to remember. When you're finding acceleration, we're always talking about the overall acceleration. So I'm not going to use 30, I'm not going to use 12, I'm not going to use 6. None of those describe the overall acceleration. That's only given by the net force, which we found to be 24 newtons. So I'll take 24 newtons divided by 1.2, the mass, and end up with an acceleration of 20 meters per second squared. Okay, recapping, we went over how to solve Newton's second law problems with friction. We went over the idea of coefficient of friction and also combining friction into a net force equation. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you and have a great day.